World Eaters are here, and I'm excited to bring you the Week of Blood. I'm going to be releasing a bunch of World Eaters content this week, talking about list design, talking about what armies are going to be countering them, what's not going to be countering them. I'm going to talk about the best units, but today I'm talking about the most cranked abilities for the World Eaters. I've got a list for you here, and I'm sure I missed one or two. I would love to hear your favorites down in the comments down below for the ones that I may have missed. And if you agree with me, let me know. If you think it's easy and it's weak sauce, let me know, and we'll fight in the comments. It's just the way the internet is. So let's break it down. The new World Eaters are absolutely awesome, and their abilities are so darn cool. For the life of me, I cannot grasp some of the hatred that we're getting off of, well, I can grasp it because it's coming from Reddit, which I largely just don't respect. But we're getting a lot, largely. There's some good threads that I've had there, and there are definitely some people in Reddit who are respectful. It's just a lot of the ideas who come out. Anyway, World Eaters are extremely good right now. The issue is that they are not nearly as unga bunga as they were before. But there is so much room for skill expression. And if you're trying to play these guys at a high level, you're going to be able to play them at a much higher level. And you're not going to be relying on things such as going first or going second, for example. You're going to be able to play your way out of tons of scenarios. And you will present extreme problems for your opponents. Besides, hey, does your opponent have infiltrators? Like if you're previously, if your opponent had infiltrators, great, they don't care, they're going to win the game. And if they didn't, they lose. So it's not that binary anymore. Now your World Eaters have so many abilities, and it's really powerful. And don't freak out, because some of the abilities we're going to discuss in this video they're a little busted. Not busted might be the wrong word, but they're a little super strong. But they're going to get taken down. They're going to get tuned down, just like literally every other interaction in the game that starts off as too strong has gotten taken down. Everything's going to be tuned down. And honestly, the codex itself is not busted. It doesn't need like a huge overwrite. Everything looks actually fairly darn just good and new and interesting. Most of you, when you play against World Eaters the first time, you're gonna lose. And guys, every time I play against a new detachment, I expect to lose because you got to get used to the new abilities. So don't worry if you lose your first game or two. It's going to take a while to get used to it and how to balance it. So let's talk about some of the top 4 interactions that we're going to have here. All right, number 4. You get the Juggerlord leading the Blood Crushers. This is in the Khorne Demons detachment, where they are able to take up to 1,000 points of demons as allies. Now, you have the Disciple of Khorne enhancement. When you use this, you can then attach a Juggerlord to either Blood Crushers of Khorne or Fleshhounds of Khorne. Though there's actually a really hilarious interaction, which is not what we're talking about right now, but I'm just going to throw it out there because it's super funny, where if you choose to lead Fleshhounds with the Juggerlord's ability is he gives the unit he's leading movement 10. Fleshhounds have a movement of 12, so like you literally make the Fleshhounds slower and worse by leading him with the Juggerlord, which is just a super funny interaction. Anyway, let's move on. So basically, though, the Juggerlord will be leading the Blood Crushers. He will get these. He can get Scout. He can get Deep Strike. He can get those abilities when he leads them. So what's really, really exciting, though, is he has another ability where he grants the unit the ability to move through walls. So now your Blood Crushers, which are notoriously difficult to maneuver on the battlefield because they are mounted, can now just walk straight through walls. Boom! That dramatically increases their power right off the bat. He also gives them the ability to fight within 3 inches. Now, this extended engagement range is going to cause problems. I just TO'd I was the head judge of a tournament this past weekend, and we weren't running the new World Eaters, but this is this type of problem that's going to come up for a bunch of judges. But the important thing about being able to fight within 3 inches is that your unit still needs to be engaged with the enemy unit. And engagement is 1 inch. You have to be within 1 inch to be engaged in any unit. So just because you're within 3 inches of an enemy unit, if your unit is not engaged with it, then you still don't get to fight them. You can only fight within 3 inches of a unit that you are currently engaged with, if that makes sense. So it is very, very strong. We'll make sure that your guys will always get to fight. You stack this with the 6-inch pile-in consolidates that you can get for your blood tokens or your Blessings of Khorne rolls. Holy crap, these dudes are causing chaos because they're going to charge in. They're going to kill something on the mortals because it's going to be 7d6 every 4 is d3 mortal wounds on the charge. And then you're going to get a 6 up. You can. You don't have to, but you can get up to a 6-inch pile-in and consolidate. This is brutal. This is so fast. This is so much speed. You're going to be able to tag so many things. Now, in this detachment, you can also stack it with Lance and even Twin Linked based off of how many Blood Tithe points you've used. So this is a very, very strong unit. It's going to cause a lot of problems. You're going to be able to deal with it. Don't worry. It's definitely going to be handleable. And I'm going to do videos on how to handle new World Eaters as well. And of course, I'll put that out free to all of you guys because I love you and I want everyone to get better at Warhammer. But this is a awesome unit that has a ton of potential. So let's go on to number 3. Now this is bonkers. So you have unwrappable, unshootable, unstoppable transports in the Goretrack Onslaught detachment. This detachment has unbelievable utility. The utility is just mind-boggling. And if you want to use it, you're going to have a total blast. Now, what it does suffer from is just raw damage, because its damage output is going to be less. It doesn't really have all that much benefits outside of getting lance when a unit disembarks from a transport. So other than that, it's just like base damage, which can mean that it's going to suffer a little bit. But of course, you're still World Eaters, so your Blessings of Khorne can still give you lethal. You can still get sustained. Like, you can still buff your damage up quite a bit. But as far as this compared to your other World Eaters armies, this one's going to have a lower amount of damage. But you're probably definitely going to take 4 to 6 Rhinos because of what I'm about to talk about. So you have the aggressive disembarkation. This is, you get to disembark into engagement. This is a stratagem that makes it so that you cannot wrap the vehicle. Like, if you try, because if most of you understand at this point that you can charge a vehicle, wrap all the way around it so that your opponent in their turn cannot disembark their units, because there's no way they can disembark without being an engagement of you, which means you can't disembark. But with this stratagem, you can disembark within engagement, which basically means it's going to be impossible to ever wrap a Rhino. Brutally powerful. Then you have Fury Unleashed. A unit can disembark and make a Blood Surge move when your transport is shot. I believe this only applies to Rhinos, and of course you would have to have Berserkers inside to make the Blood Surge move. This is bonkers. This creates such a wild no-go zone because the new Blood Surge move is D6 plus 2 inches. And remember, Blood Surge moves, you can end in engagement range of the enemy. So basically what this creates is a 8-inch-ish no-go zone on the board. So if you have a unit of Khorne Berserkers, perhaps led by a Master of Executions, which lets you re-roll the Blood Surge move, and you want to shoot this Rhino, if you don't kill it, let's say it lives on 1 wound, well, now your Berserkers get to disembark and immediately make a Blood Surge roll that is then re-rollable if you're led by a Master of Executions. And you just get to end in engagement range, which that by itself can just end the shooting phase for the opponent. It can end the charge phase for the opponent. It can cause so much havoc. It creates a literal 20-inch globe. So I basically outlined it, in my childish, sloppy freehand skills here so that you can see exactly what 28 inches looks like. That's how much distance where you have to be really careful. Like, because if you're touching this circle and they roll a 6 on their Blood Surge, boom, you're engaged with them in your shooting phase. That is so brutal. Then you've got the Smash Through ability, which is just a stratagem that will allow a vehicle to move straight through a wall. They get to use this on a Land Raider. So suddenly Land Raiders are actually very usable in the World Eaters Codex. A Land Raider perhaps led by, I don't know, maybe some Fight First 8-bound inside of it. So the Land Raider can just walk straight through walls now. And then, of course, you can always just disembark and charge after Land Raider moves. Oh, boy. That is so powerful. They also have another stratagem. I don't think I have it written down here, but it's just hilarious. Oh, actually, I do. I do have it right here. So then the last combination that you're going to get out of Goretrack, you've got an enhancement called the Aggressive Onslaught, which is a 9-inch scout move in a transport. So basically, start of the turn, start of the game, your transport moves 9 inches forward. And then you spend 1 CP to move your 12 inches that the Rhino moves, and disembark and still charge. So it effectively will turn your Rhino into a Land Raider for the turn. So you can guarantee that you go 12 plus 9, what is that, 21 inches, right? And then you get 3 inches on the disembark, so your unit will effectively move 24 inches turn 1 and then still be able to charge. This is so fast. So fast. It's going to cause a lot of problems for opponents. All of this can be played around, by the way, but this is very, very good, and it's got some real serious utility. So that's one of the best abilities they have. Now, number 2, this is a little bit different. This is talking about a really particularly niche scenario, but it's super strong. So this is the Unlimited Fighting Dreadnought, and I should say Unlimited Fighting Hellbrute, because he's not a Dreadnought, he's a Hellbrute. So anyway, specifically, this will work in the Berserker Warband, which is kind of like the index detachment. But it could be actually really interesting in Goretrack, because then you could just walk through walls with them. But the Hellbrute in the World Eaters has move 9, not move 6 like it is everywhere else. So suddenly this dude, and you remember you can get him the 6-inch pile and consolidate due to your Blessings of Khorne rolls, you can equip him with a Power Scourge, which typically is not a great weapon. But in Berserker Warband, this thing goes from 10 attacks to 11 attacks weapon skill 3, and it goes from strength 7 to strength 9, and you have a stratagem to take it from AP 1 to AP 2 damage 2. And he has the unlimited fight rule, which means every time someone hits him, he gets to fight. Every time someone shoots him, he gets to shoot. So what you can do is you can move this guy his 9 inches, bank the charge, blast a unit of infantry into smithereens, and if you're World Eaters, so like, I mean, if you have sustained hits, you got sustained hits, right? Hopefully you're going to have like your 6 up to consolidate up, which means that maybe you can charge a transport, tank shock, kill the transport, pile into the unit that gets out. The unit is forced to hit you. Then you get to make your attacks. You murder the unit. Then you get to 6-inch consolidate again. And you can continuously do this until you run out of units that hit you. It is so strong. It is almost as powerful as the old school Death Company Dreadnought back from Index days. The current Death Company Dreadnought from the Blood Eaters Codex is terrible, but the one previously from the Index, gangbusters, man. I loved that bad boy. I took him to the WTC, took him everywhere with me, and he was always MVP. So opening up a real unlimited fighting unit is very, very powerful. And with that Power Scourge, that is a lot of attacks at high strength and reasonable AP when you get to use the +1 AP for the Berserker Warband. This rocks, and it's a very, very good ability. Then lastly, we have an interaction that is actually probably busted. and don't worry, it's going to be okay. They're going to nerf it. So World Eater players, enjoy this strat for the next few weeks. It's super sick. You're going to have a blast doing it. And if you're playing against World Eaters, enjoy your opponent's glee that they get to play with their shiny toy for a few weeks, because this won't last super long. So you have Summoned by Slaughter, which is the strongest, most unreasonable stratagem in the entire freaking game. Like I said, just don't freak out. It's going to be fixed. Everything like this has been fixed very quickly by GW, so it's going to be okay. But this can be used in any phase, once per battle round, to summon a unit of Bloodletters within 9 inches of a unit that was just killed. What that means is that your Bloodletter unit that you summon in just has to be within 9 inches of the last model of that unit to die. So you can, I don't know, charge something that had, 2 wounds with it, tank shock them to death, summon your Bloodletters, then charge with them because it's still the charge phase. They're still eligible to charge. Or your opponent can shoot you to death, and then they have no other shooting on that side of the flank, and then you just summon in some Bloodletters, and then the Bloodletters in your turn are free to go take whatever objective they want to take or do whatever they want to do. You can say, I don't know, like if you're running a Forge Fiend or something like that, and your opponent wants to move, you can Overwatch, and if you kill them with the Forge Fiend in the Overwatch, which you can get full rerolls to hit with, Forge Fiends in this book, then suddenly you can just bring in Bloodletters 1.1 inches in front of them, and then that could just stop the entire rest of the army's movement. The use cases of this stratagem are shocking. It's unbelievable how powerful it is and how unrestricted it is. The only restriction on it is it can only be used once per battle round, but like, yeah, that's all you're going to need. So this is a unreasonable stratagem. It's super sick. It's super cool. It'll be fixed. And honestly, the way they fix it is very simple. You just say that the entire unit has to be like within 3 inches of the unit that died, and you got to be 9 inches away from an enemy unit. Boom. Still a very good stratagem. Still going to be super useful. It's just not going to be, gangbusters broken. So with that, guys, these are some of the strongest abilities that the World Eaters Codex is bringing us. There's plenty more, trust me, and I want to hear some of your favorites in the comments down below. I'm going to be back. I'm going to be talking about the strongest units. I'm going to be talking about some list that you guys can start running that you can get right out the gate with, and I'm going to be talking about some ways to counter some of this stuff, because with every new codex comes new opportunities for problem solving. So we're going to get into that. And next week, I'm going to be tackling Death Guard. So bear with me. We'll get it all out to you. Hope you all have a freaking great day. Happy crumping. Bye-bye.